back. It is my intention to post every Sunday, and sometimes I just need more time to metabolize certain things before I speak about them. So here we are on a Wednesday. So let's get straight to the point. If you don't love life right now, stop pretending you do. I'm done being polite. I carry a lot of things that I cannot put down. And it's not because I'm attached to suffering in any kind of way. It's because I'm attached to reality. And the reality right now is full of things that would absolutely crack me to the core if I would let them in. I love life. And it took me a very, very long time to get to a point that I can actually speak that out loud and mean it deeply, genuinely. That the sheer fact of existence, simple things like sunlight that is hitting my face, having a good conversation, building things that didn't exist before, hit me so hard that I can barely breathe. And also, I can't stand it sometimes. The rot beneath the beauty, the knowledge of what is happening in the world while I'm sitting here recording a video, the gap between what life could be and what it so often is in reality. I used to think that it meant that there was something wrong with me. Now I know that there's something right with me. Look around. It's outrageous noise. If you are one of those dudes driving around on motorcycles or in cars with noise that is distorting the harmony and the whole atmosphere of the neighborhood, I just know that your dick is the size of my pinky finger. Just cut it out. Cut it out like a coupon. But without all those noises, it's a wonderful day. What can I say? And this episode is about that contradiction. And I want to walk you through how I move through that tension. The love and the hate, the magic and the rot, and what you actually do when you are too aware to pretend that everything is fine, but too alive to give up. I've been in a deep recalibration, and I've been thinking about this a lot. Like I said, luckily, I have a lot of moments that I absolutely love life. And at the same time, I feel everything. And I hate suffering and injustice. I hate it with passion. And often it's hard for me to act like there's nothing going on while knowing and feeling what's actually going on in the world, but also energetically. Just because I carry it well doesn't mean it isn't heavy.
Just because I carry it well doesn't mean it isn't heavy. Grace is not wages, it's forged under pressure. In that space.
That brings us to one question. Wat is de zin van het leven? Het heeft bij uitstek geen zin. All this questioning brought me to an answer. And that is that maybe the point isn't to always love life, but to participate in it honestly. And that is what I miss. Honesty. Online, you either see an untrue, polished version of a person and who they want to be, or you see the finished product without a clear perspective on the journey and what it took to get there, which then gives you an unrealistic view on what it takes to not only show up as your real authentic self, but also on how to build a life you are truly proud of, which doesn't mean that it's always easy, but at least it's true. Because in fact, the most authentic people, the people with the deepest and truest transformations, are often the ones that have stared in the depths of the darkness and refused to look away. The successful people you are seeing online, the ones that seek depth, that invest in their growth, they are not walking around loving life every day. They are the ones that know that loving life is a moving target, that some days ask more of you than you actually have. They know that authenticity means more than performing something that you are not. They are not acting like they know it all while being tired of pretending they do, because they accept their own humanity, because there's no special heaven for people that die with their music still inside of them. Nobody wins when you hide parts of yourself and how you really feel. We need you. All of you. That's why you're here. We are so focused on the outside world, manifesting things, manipulating our outer world, because we try to find a quick fix to feel something different from the inside. Well, it's the inside that creates the outside. That is why the biggest investment that you can ever make is attending to your inner space, attending to the quality of your inner space. The paradox of that is that you have to be successful enough or have touched that in a way to know that no amount of outside success will fix the inside. Ever. Ever. Ja, ik ben boos op je. Nee. But it's also not a reason to not be resourceful. To feel empty in ways that you cannot name. To keep holding yourself back from the things that you actually desire. Life is magical, but the world is insane. Magical but rotten to the core. I can't choose which one is more true anymore. Dead inside. Spend a lot of time stuck in this head of mine. Under the assumption love is dead already. Just let me be here. Leave me alone. It's just that the focus has to be redirected, or else I get cynical and numb out of self-protection. And I don't want that. I did so much work, and I want to stay open and soft. But sometimes I'm so pissed off that I constantly have to stay in my masculine because I feel unsupported by the world that we live in. The reality tells me time and time again that I can only trust me. And I don't trust the leaders and decision makers of this world. Most of them are weak and compromised. Then there are others that want to lead from integrity, but they are simply inequipped and tired because they never had a safe place to land. But when I spiral through all this stuff, the answer is often way simpler than the pain that I feel around it. Focus on the day to day things before moving mountains, because that is where the world is suffering from. It is truth and integration fatigue. How to move when all old identities dissolve, when everyone seems to have the answers, but we are still experiencing a lack of true leadership. The mundane is almost insulting when you have big visions, but we must remember that we are not above earth. We have to stay awake to the reality of where we are now. I personally think that my whole journey is designed to show up with more presence. I don't think I would be here if I didn't feel obligated to give people some kind of direction based off everything I went through, after everything I've seen. Like, we do have a part in all of this. I feel like I've lived 1,000 lifetimes in one. Even as a child, I'm tired, but I'm also hopeful. It's this weird existential mix. It's like I have this love hate relationship with life. Sometimes I just want to go home. But even that statement is delusional. Who do I think I am? I am here because this is my home for now. And the only problem was not accepting that I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. And I've decided that it's no longer a problem to fix. It is the actual truth of being aware, conscious, in a world that is both magical and rotten. Absolutely disgraceful and lunatic. I don't know what else to say. How did I do in English? The truth is that I see both sides of the beauty and the mess that we have created here. Most people pick a side and perform in it, only show the highlights, which they have every right to. The thing is that we are just creating measures that are pushing others into feeling hopeless and lost when it comes to their own life. We feel guilty when we are not absolutely delighted with being alive all the time. Most of the time, I don't really like what I see at all. I love people, some of them, and at the same time, I don't like the way that a lot of people behave. Even though there's deep understanding, I don't like it. And I have to put in effort to hold a perspective that is neutralizing rather than destructive. I have to put a little effort. Effort costs energy. Is the more aware and awake you become, the more beauty and magic you see. But at the same time, you also become more aware to the distortion. Understanding everything at a deep level can really become a curse because you're always in the middle of things. Sometimes it's easier to just hate something. At least it's a clear standpoint. Not to say that I don't have clear standpoints, because I do. What I often see is that people feel this contradiction and then try to escape it by leaning heavily towards one side of it. Especially when it comes to spiritual bypassing. Everything is unfolding perfectly. It's all an illusion. Just vibrate higher. No, some things are just wrong. Saying that it's all perfect as it is an insult to people that are actually suffering as a consequence of human failure, toxic positivity. Just focus on the good, choose happiness. Gratitude fixes everything. No, it absolutely the fuck doesn't. Ain't nobody loves me better. Ain't nobody makes me feel this way. Gratitude is very real and it helps a lot. But to consistently use it against ourselves to avoid the other side of polarity is no more than gaslighting yourself. It's all an illusion, just vibrate higher. And then you have the complete opposite, completely drowning into despair. The world is ending, nothing really matters, why even try? And I get it, I've been there. But despair is just as seductive as denial of reality. Both let you off the hook. And I truly feel that we are all responsible for this world in our own way. But I also believe that we all have different capacity. And I deeply respect people that are standing up in a way that actually changes things. But if sometimes your only focus has to be on you, your own family, on staying alive, I won't blame you. It's all about draagkracht. Also, often it feels like doing something, but if you look deeper into it, it actually just makes people feel better about themselves. It makes them feel like they are doing something, but in actuality, it costs them nothing. But back to the story, the trap isn't a contradiction in itself, it is the desire to choose one side in an attempt to avoid the internal discomfort. And I say that to say this: I don't always love life, but I also refuse to waste it. I genuinely believe it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and there's nothing I wish more for people, for you, to have a full human life experience, which means to get the utmost, uppermost quality out of your life experience. I am haunted by the gap between my capacity to love and be there for others and my capacity to actually protect others. There's only so much I can do, and I have to accept that. And also be realistic in protecting my own energy. Every time you just do things for others, you will learn how much you have to do it for yourself. Because sometimes I would sacrifice myself knowing that at least 1 million people would have a great life experience. And I know how that sounds. There's nothing noble about it. It's something I need to work on. I got interrupted, and I think it was at the right moment. There's a story I want to share with you about a vision that I got while I was working in a ceremonial setting with a group of people. And this really stuck with me because the vision that I saw was of a lotus. And I don't know if you are familiar with a lotus and in which circumstances they grow, but it was a blue lotus to be specific. And it was not just a vision, I could feel it within my whole system. And it really stuck with me because it helped me metabolize the grander scheme of life. And it showed me this big blue lotus. And it opened up in the full glory of its existence, in the full glory of its beauty. And it was this force that was pressuring towards this point of full expansion, full bloom. It was breathtaking. Up until a point that it was fully open in its full glory. And then it was extracting backwards again. But to have reached that moment of full expansion, full glory, full beauty, it went through a process of struggle, pressure, force. In that moment, I saw that the whole journey that has led to that full moment of aliveness, of beauty, of the highest form of its existence, was created under pressure and force. I didn't just see, but I also felt the whole journey of expansion, evolution, and then going inwards again, back to zero. And that it was all part of the journey. All the beauty of life is connected to creation, expansion, rebirth. And they all have very painful parts. It's like some butterflies that go through the worst process to be a butterfly for just one day. That one day, it's a short-lived experience. But I say that to say this. Maybe the point isn't to love it all, but to at least appreciate all parts, because they are inherently connected to life. And without them, nothing would exist. Sometimes we have to find a deeper meaning without getting attached to the identity of someone that no one understands. Because with that, we are creating the very opposite of what we actually want, and that is real connection. And sometimes it's not about what's true, but about what's helpful when it comes to enhancing the quality of our life. Because the mind will always be a source of creation. And at the same time, I'm getting tired of all the manifestation noise, because we cannot outplay the 3D world. It operates within certain rules. And better learn them fast, or you will keep walking into a wall. It does not matter how spiritual we think we are. If we do not get the 3D in check, we will keep experiencing the same things over and over again. I'm not cynical or bitter. I've touched the magic more than enough to know that it is very real. And at the same time, that is exactly what makes it so hard to carry the rot of this world. So the question becomes, what do we do with all of this? Well, I can tell you what I do with it. I stop trying to resolve it. The love-hate isn't a problem. It is a very accurate experience of what it means to be alive in the now. Stop trying to pick one. hold both. I stopped trying to talk myself out of how dark things feel sometimes. And I stopped trying to logic myself back into gratitude when I'm in the midst of it. Stop the negotiation. I supposed to feel gratitude, but I don't feel it right now. So that must make me unworthy of the things that I actually want. There are things you can simply not see when you are in the middle of them, when you are still metabolizing. There are different levels of existence. That's why you can't see it, because you're supposed to feel it. What I started doing instead was letting both be true at the same time, not as a compromise, but to just let the most honest thing be exactly what it is. People who only see the magic of the world are escaping, and people who only see the rot are drowning. To be fully alive means to hold both. Let the rot and darkness of the world inform your actions, not who you are becoming or your identity. The world's derangement isn't who you are, it's information. Information about what needs attention, awareness, redirection, creation. Information about what needs protection, sacredness. You build and create in spite of, not despite the rot and darkness, more like because there is rot and darkness, everything that I create and build matters even more. Life will always take things, always. That's why what you create and build in the now is sacred, it's precious. Because the world seems broken and you can witness that. Makes it so that your contribution isn't optional. We need you, all of you. Let the magic sustain you without blinding you. I don't use moments of beauty to escape, but as much needed fuel. They are not reminding me of everything is fine. They are reminding me of something still worth fighting for. I don't even want to use the word fighting. Worth continuing, living, and appreciating for. You find your people who are also able to hold both, who don't need you to be anything less than who you are, to perform optimism or despair, who can sit with you in the contradiction and say, yeah, same. We don't look past the bullshit. We see it exactly for what it is. And now we decide, what do we build from that space? The question isn't how do I make the pain, the hate, and the darkness go away? The question is, what do I build with the hands that know and can hold both? And the answer is magic, of course. Here's what I want to say to you directly. And I don't have to know you to see you. Like I said before, when you realize, seeing with your real eye, which is the heart, you can see everyone. So if you have ever felt guilty for loving life while others are suffering or while the world is burning, don't. If you've ever felt guilty for hating parts of life while you should be grateful, don't. You're not doing anything wrong. You're not out of order. You are simply awake, wakker. The question isn't whether you will feel both, because you will. That's the cost of being conscious. The question is, what do you choose? Who do you want to be? What do you want to build and create? Even with the risk of getting hurt, will you choose love anyway? Will you let the rot and darkness of this world make you graceful instead of bitter? Will you make the magic of this world make you hopeful and tender instead of naive? That is the only choice that matters. Let me ask you something. Are you still in healing or forced building, holding beliefs that you cannot even sell to yourself? Or have you moved into aligned creation? Just be honest. Not even with me, with yourself. Either way, I'm here building with both hands. So if you want to build without being blind to the reality of this world, you have found the right channel. Because what we are having to deal with on a daily basis is very real. But at the same time, us having absolutely everything we could possibly need to make the absolute best out of this life experience is also real. This is exactly why the work I do is about returning people back to their original architecture. So they stop carrying their ambition, their dreams, their success around as weight and start living inside of it. Quality of life, baby. The only path that leads to true fulfillment is building a life and success that reflects who you actually are. I kid you not. All batteries went down and I had to wait an hour to charge. Listen. And sometimes you have to ask yourself, why did I do this again? What was the exact reason of me doing this? And then I think of this quote. What a blessing it is to be tired in the pursuit of a challenge of your own choosing. Speaking about quality of life and the pursuit of your own choosing, this is exactly why I do what I do. You would be surprised how many people are living inside of a life that isn't actually theirs because the foundation is never reflected upon. Normally, I only work with people that already have a business, some kind of leadership. On request, I've opened some more options to work with me. So if you are interested in that, link is in the description. Regardless, work on that. It is coherence before expansion. You will thank yourself later. That's it for now. Honor your inner space and carry yourself with grace. See you next time.
calling exhaustion purpose, calling emptiness strife, feeding a hungry ghost, and forgetting how to feel at home inside our own lives. I am not here to chase a dream, I am here to become someone who can live inside it. Coherence before expansion. Honor your endless space. Carry yourself with grace.